you are not hungry. It's something you do because you think the society can be better. Okay. The concept of the Good Samaritan. Let's fix his door and stuff like that. Then you develop a habit of service. And so when you get into a position of leadership, sacrificing for the good of others comes naturally to you. You've built up the habit of it. That's really the point about volunteerism. I want to talk about challenges. I think it disposes us to a position, and we have clarity of thinking. We will be able to find solutions. Problems can be solved in our head, which when we marshal them, will make it easy for society to be a better place for all. Those are some simple, basic essentials. Well, in the Center for Values in Leadership, part of what we have tried to do through the years is expose young people to the experience of people who have succeeded in life. You'll find invariably most people who really succeed. Forget about people who hustle and abuse systems and have a few flash. Invariably, most of those people come back to where they started from. I can tell you that. I got into position and they abused it and are eating on the floor today. It's just that the Nigerian society does not keep track. But when service is central to your nature, it doesn't matter what, first of all, the fulfillment, personal fulfillment that you get is enough. I mean, Michael Okpara never felt disputed that he didn't have money. He was a great man, stalwart there. And you can go through so many great leaders that we have had. So you need to recognize that leadership is about sacrificial giving of self for the advance of the common good of all. Once you recognize that value, you will generally turn out okay. Society will have ups and downs, but you see, you'll be at the table when the opportunity comes. And that opportunity will make for you to even advance your own good. So I think that that's probably where I should stop on that. Because there's so much more one can engage in on these tracks. Okay.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give everybody a good round of applause. This has been a very call. If you want to volunteer, you have you must you must have some key attributes. One, you must have your values right. Two, be sure if you want to volunteer, there are three things you will have to give up. One is your talent, you give it for free. One is your time, you give it for free. And then your energy, you provide it for free. Those are the three key attributes. The other important thing that came out from the conversation here is that if we are leaders, if we claim to be leaders, there are clear attributes a leader should have. And one of them is knowledge. And I always like to do a skit before we go on leadership. I want 6 volunteers to come out right here. 6 volunteers. Yes, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6. So, you line up. Who said number 1 first? Okay, you stand here. Face that way. Stand and face that way. Put your hand on the back. Put your hand on his own. Put your hand. Put your hand. How many days here now? Top of her. Both hands. Move back a little bit. Keep moving back. Hey, move back. No, come. You're not. Okay. Watch what's going to happen here. What's your name, sir? Atan. Atan is our leader now. Give him a good round of keep advancing until I tell you to stop. Okay? Now, start coming towards me slowly. Close your eyes. All of you, close your eyes tightly. Follow me where I am. You see, the man is cheating. Is he not?
Yes.
He's
yes,
cheating.
he is.
He's cheating.
He is.
So you see, as a leader, kick him out. You are hearing my movement. You see, his senses are. Anyway, go to the back now. Go to the back. Oh yeah, put your arms again. Go back from where you started. Just move back to where you started. All right? Oh yeah, close your eyes this time around. Keep coming until I tell you to stop. Close your eyes tightly, all of you. Oh yeah, come. Until I tell you to stop. Don't stop. Stop. Open your eyes. You see where it is? What did we see now? When a leader is blind, what happens? The followers are also they are going to go into oblivion with the leader. All right? Also, onlookers who sit on the fence and do nothing, they are also as bad as the leaders. This man there, they look. He didn't tell them you are going into oblivion. Isn't it? And that is what is going on in our country too. A lot of people in communities don't speak up when there is evil. Madam, I think you should continue to, please go back to your seats. You should continue to bless Chris Kolade for the advice he gave to you when he wanted to resign. You know, she would have been like this man who was standing here and things were going on, but she did the right thing. She complained. But when they didn't do anything, she left. So what will happen? When she leaves and tell them you are going into the Atlantic Ocean, what will happen? All of them will fall into the Atlantic Ocean. Is it not so? I think this is a skit I always do when I do a leadership training. To convey the fact that leaders must be what? Knowledgeable. The other thing that came out very clearly here, I think Haja spoke to that, is the fact that if you do not give up some, please don't go anywhere. We're going for lunch. All right? There's lunch served. Haja spoke to some of those core values, and then that's why she used that to illustrate. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've done a very wonderful work for this afternoon session. Let us go for lunch. Even if we have only 4 or 5 left, we'll come back to do our breakout sessions. Please, lunch is served, but the lunch is going to be taken across the road. These people are strict here. We can't eat food in here. So please, can we quickly go? We have 35 minutes to eat our lunch and come back. And then before we go, one house, please, before you leave. I have VIO people. Where is Malam Sani? Please stand up and give him a good round of applause. Malam Sani has exhibited the kind of thing we want to see in our uniformed forces. He's been here since morning with his team. Thank you so much. The guys from the NCDC, where is the leader here? Please, can we give him a good round of applause? We'll recognize your leadership, and please, we are going to have food, and I beg of you, we would like to come back so that we'll do a breakout session. Even if it's for 30 minutes, let us boil some of these things. The rapporteurs have taken down everything that we have said so that we can come up with concrete communique before we leave here. So let's go for lunch. The time now is 4:05. 4:05. Should we come back here by 4:35? Is that okay? 4:35. Media people, where you carry your this thing they go? You want to interview me? No problem. How are you? Good to see you. You came so late. You are going to be here when we're doing the breakout session. So you'll be fully... Okay. Where do you want to stand and do it? Down there? Okay, let's go. Oh yeah, lead them to go and food. Hajia, go and chop. Everybody go to eat, oh, don't run away. Unless the food we paid for will... Igbo. One name, okay. 080. 37 87 3991 1. Call me so that I can get AG Koji. OJI.
Yeah?
Is everything fine?
Yes, ma'am.
We are trying to do.
Fix that. And for history. It's okay.
dawo nan ya yi mini sama na ce in gyara yana
ci abinci ba?
Na ci na koshi. Illa gida nake son in je. Minti nawa za mu ɗauka? Up to 1 hour. You said 30 minutes.
Please, can everybody come in? Let's have a general feedback so that we can close. Please, let everybody come in. Yes, because Doc just said, because we value the time that you all have spent with us today. We don't take that for granted. So the chairman in his wisdom asked that we should just take a general feedback from the 4 discussions so that the repertoires can just speak that. Please, can we come inside? Doc said everybody should come inside, apart from one person that will be in this thing. Please come. Please let us come inside now, so that the hall can look clean. People have gone. Queen, can you use your conscience for the food that you ate and come inside? You cannot be here because you were there, you left your duty, things happen. You have failed. Please come inside. You have failed in that duty. You come inside, Juliet. Don't be crying. Elizabeth, drag that data woman inside. Drag her inside. Remove her conscience and put it in your bag. Then you drag her in. She's even catwalking herself. And the thing is paining me. Why are you catwalking? The thing is paining me now. But the thing, I'm not happy with it now. The thing is paining me. Can we have everybody come inside? Where are the coppers? All of them. We'll just have final thoughts on the 4 thematic areas. Then we can go. We thank you all for spending your time. We value it. We don't take it for granted. That is the highest level of patriotism. Doc, we are set, sir. We are ready. So just to let you know that these microphones are working, in case somebody wants to make a point, you can just put it on and add your voice.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you all hear me? Toby, there was something I told him to put on the board. Okay, Hello? Why is this thing echoing? Hello? Okay. First of all, let me thank everybody for coming back after lunch. Usually, go to some level of mental work. They go find somewhere to do some, and what we call energizers in a meeting. We need to energize. We've been sitting all morning and talking. Now we have eaten. There's something we call postprandial stupor. After you've eaten, the brain will shunt most of the blood to your stomach to digest the food. So what will happen? It reduces blood flow to the brain. What do you think will happen? Abi? Huh? So we are going to start, but before I do that, let me recognize one of His Excellencies here, Ambassador Obwole. Thank you for joining us. The third tier for this our meeting was supposed to be a breakout session, or breakout sessions, but obviously time has gone and people are a little tired. But I think we got a lot of information already. The reason why we made it a tiered approach is to make sure that we get enough information that will inform our communique. But from the early keynote addresses that we had, and also the panel conversation and the question and answer session, I think we've gotten enough. So what we would like to do now, as I call up each of the panels, if there are additional information anybody wants us to put in there, you please make that happen. We have our rapporteurs who will still collect everything that we say here. So let's start with leadership. Leadership. I don't even know whether Alistair is still online. And I guess Pat or Tommy would have gone into his meeting. IT, is any of these things still online? Who? Oh, fantastic. Alistair is such a follow-through person. Alistair, can you give us a good round of applause from where you are in England? You are still staying with us. Thank you, my brother. So that you can be part of this final part of the sessions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we decided not to go the four-way path because we thought we had collected a lot of information and people are a little tired in the day. A lot of conversation has happened between the two tiers we had earlier on. So we just feel that this session will be a validation session for anything that we have discussed, and we need to look at it again. And if there are new insights, anybody feel that we should still bring on the table, we'll do that, and then we'll leave that to the rapporteurs to be able to distill them. What will happen, the core team that is managing this will still go back and do a lot of wordsmithing and idea smithing to be able to come out with a final communique that will make the world press. So let's start off by saying, let's start with, Alistair is online. Let's give him the pride of place. Alistair, so we're going to go to discuss the issue of Nigerianism and see whether anybody still has any more insights as opposed to what we already have. So ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open. But first of all, let's give a good round of applause to Alistair. This is the true Nigerian ethos we are talking about. He stayed true, sacrificed everything he's doing today to be on this, and then also donated his streaming platform, Ben TV, which is global. That's why everybody in the world is hearing us and seeing us. And we are connected to 24 states on this platform. Thank you, Alistair. So the floor is open. We are going to give five minutes to each lot. After that, we'll call it a day. I want us to leave here in the next 30 minutes. So first 5 minutes, Nigerianism. Any new insights? Any thought-provoking questions that we need to distill more? No, apart from what it questions, anything or anything, any new thing or the things that we have said, do you want to further distill them so that we'll have a clarity?
If I would start, sir.
Go ahead.
Thank you once again, everybody, for coming out. Doctor, I was just thinking, patriotism is an ideology, and so is volunteerism. One of the biggest platforms around our country where we see a lot of volunteerism is in the religious institutions, particularly in churches, where you have young people serve endlessly. What we now need to do is to get this value across to the general public. You know, you cannot separate a person from political instinct. Even in local churches, you see people who want to do certain things in church, do them with motive. However, There are people there who are doing these things genuinely. I just felt like as part of our initiative going forward, we should design programs that will include these religious organizations and suggest to them to promote volunteerism for the nation, even in their religious centers. One of the reasons why I could easily say that some of the reasons why some Nigerians are not exactly patriotic is because there seems to be so much room in the mind of a person or in the psyche of a person to know how many institutions or ideologies he can be patriotic or loyal to. And this is where I think that going forward, we should look at a way of getting the message to the captains of this local or these religious circles so that can be integrated, and then we can have more people participate in volunteerism and then patriotism in the process. I just thought I should add this to the conversation, sir.
Much favor. You capped it all. You know why religion is the opium of the masses. There's something that has been put in religion that make people, or things that have been put in the religious circles that make people do what they have to do. Instead of say, let's infuse with it, they're already doing the churches and mosques are already doing it. The question will be how do we learn what they are doing to use it for our own purpose? How do we create another tribe? How do we create another faith? And that new tribe we are creating, which everybody will belong to, will be the tribe of volunteerism. I think this is the way we should be looking at it, if people agree with me. How do we create that following, that regardless of where you are coming from, you want to follow that? I think that should be the assignment. And then if you ask me, there's something we call the VUCAT learning, which you do a lot of deep learning of what has happened in the past. In your life, in your organization, in anything that you do, that deep learning you're doing, you will now look at those things you have done in the past that is no more relevant for your growth in the present. And what do you do next? You unlearn them. You do an active process of unlearning those things. Then that will now help you learn and plan for the present and now create the future you want to see. So even this organization is a fledgling one, it's just starting. Now we have done this fanfare today. Now, most of the people out there will, this will be another talk shop. Let's see where these guys are going to go to. Isn't it? So this is the time, actually, we should go, and usually in every organization that I'm part of, I want us to be deliberate. Let us not just rush into anything because we want to impress people. You impress them for 1 or 2, 3 years, then the thing will fall apart. Like most things happen. If you look at organizations that have grown and stayed grown, they do what we call strategic visioning exercise. Every 3 years, every 5 years, because in those parcel of number of years that you're doing, things are changing. Look at the world. The world has moved so fast. There's so much innovation. Before, there was no way we could have had a lister or be part of this conversation today without technology. So we need to do 2 critical things. That strategic visioning exercise that I will propose for us would have 2 parts. Call it SWOT analysis, but the important thing is to deeply learn in the past. Why is it that volunteerism has not held on? Why is it that patriotism is disappearing? What is it that we're doing that is making patriotism not be the way it used to be? Like A.G. Koch will say, this is not a country I was born into, this is not a country I grew up in. So what are those things that we were doing? And what are those things we have started doing too within that period coming to now that has made the average Nigerian not be as patriotic as a person should be, that is making us now call it a big conversation? So I think those are the 2 things mixed in one. we need to, rising from this meeting, try to do a strategic visioning exercise for us to have a document. All we got today was a big feedback, Abi? We got a lot of feedbacks from the people that came here. Some people are still thinking that we are government, Abi? Am I correct? We're not government. We are a non-governmental organization, non-partisan, non-ethnic, non-political.
Hello.
Abi? So this is where, how I want us to go, if you don't mind. Is that correct? If everybody say, lady A say ayes.
Ayes.
Lady nay say nay. The ayes have it. We are now in the National Assembly. Cool? Hajia, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I just want to, I'm still trying to learn this. Okay, I'm just trying to see as part of that vision that you're talking about, and it's very important to bring in what, is it Alista said about Nigerianism, and factor that in, and that becomes an integral part of that. What is it, the youth, the Nigerian youth, as Dr. Chris Kolade said, what is it, what Nigeria do we want to see? And do they want to see? And then what do they need to do to ensure that it happens?
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I?
Yes, hi.
You heard the ayes have it, so what's your own context?
Well, definitely, I think in order for you to achieve something, you have to rise up. You see, the first word of the most beautiful, highly endowed nation in the world, the word is arise. Arise, O compatriot. Without rising up, nobody can get to anywhere. So for me, as I grow up in my country and with that word arise, it basically says, without lifting your body up, without trying to learn something, you cannot get anywhere. And the first word every day, either for those who are religious or who are ethnic oriented, there is a word that tells you something every morning when you get up. It says, arise. Are people really rising to the bigger point? And the word arise is actually a positive word. It's not a negative word. It's an empowering word, arise. So I think if we can key into that, no matter where you are, I tell you a short, tiny story. Up in the north, and I came across while I was doing something, and I came across this guy. They were not doing much, and I said, what is the problem with you guys? Of course I do know. But he said, this to me is the faith that God has ordained for me, which meant for me to either be a lonely person in the community or somebody without hope. And it saddens me because in the same environment, that's where I grew up. I didn't have that situation when I was growing up. So the mentality of even the leaders have reoriented the people to believe that when you are weak, even though I can see you strong, that is the faith that God has put upon you. No, the answer is totally no. And that's what I want us to say, because people who are 40 to 50, they will always say the Nigerian they were growing up, the Nigeria they were born into, is not the same Nigeria that we are in today. Let's go back to that time, which is the time that I call the Nigerianism, of our positive and empowering time, so that we can really have that country that we want. You can't take away the politics of our dear country, because that's what brings the leaders. Even through this volunteerism should go out and support when need be, to encourage people to go out to make sure that they have all the necessary democratic things that they have to do to be able to pick those leaders that they desire. Without you rising up, then you will face a lot of consequences. And when you know you're rising and you arise, then the future the future you hope for, you can achieve it because you have participated fully and you know you have contributed to it.
Mr. Chairman, can I?
Yes, go ahead.
As an organization, as an NGO, I believe that we can, yes, I am. Yeah, sure. as an NGO, as an organization that has, plans for the future, if all of us seated in this hall, especially the brain movers of this organization, for us to properly situate this program, to the grassroots of the 6 geopolitical zones, number one, we must come together, to think about the core vision, that we have. When we talk about Nigerianism, we all seated in this hall this evening knows that, the culture of helping, one another, the culture of self, sacrifice in the system is virtually wiped out because every single one of us are buying from the same market. Every single one of us are buying, going through the same system. Whether you're a governor's wife or you're a governor or you're a governor's, first son, eventually you are going to go into a market because the woman that is selling pepper will not give you, cheaper price because you don't have money. And the guy out there that is also selling whatever he's selling will not necessarily give you discount because you have a fine face. The bottom line is that we have a defunct, social system. In Europe, in London, where Alistair, resides, when a man or a woman loses his job, the state, comes in between and provides a welfarist status of that. But in Nigeria, we lack such welfarist, stuffs. And even in our families, where hitherto uncles and cousins and brothers and siblings, used to do, provide help to, our friends and families. That does not work anymore because the financial power of individuals in the country have been wiped out. So what am I saying? If we are going to go too far with this agenda, we must define the vision. And that vision is something that is not enough to say Nigerianism and patriotism. Yes, we can mention that, but what are the core ingredients that will form the core foundation of what where we're headed to? Just finally, we've talked about we've talked about 6 geopolitical zones. What are we preaching to Northwest? What are we going to preach to Southeast, Southwest, South-South, North Central, and Northeast? Because these zones have different different cultures and all that stuff. So if we are going to come out as a national movement, we must consider geopolitical differences and culture, whatever we are doing according to each zone of the country, so that at the end of the day, we will not go to Sokoto and preach what we need to preach in Zamfara or in Imo State or River State. That's my point. Thank you very much.
Yes, there's no doubt that, and that's why the vision of the young people already, they want to move into different geopolitical zones. I think we've already agreed and slammed the hammer that we need to do a strategic visioning exercise to develop a roadmap. That's where this conversation belongs to. At the time we are developing the roadmap, we would have done a proper SWOT analysis on us, on Nigeria, isn't it? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are the opportunities that are out there for us, and what are the threats? And those are the things that we're going to now develop that document. I don't know if people are getting what we've already agreed on. The ingredients of what we have agreed on, we are going to do a visioning exercise, 2-3 days retreat, however long it will take, where we'll lock up ourselves up in a remote place where there won't be domestic interference, especially on Friday, when the women will be holding their husbands on the trouser, bring money for the Wuse market. We'll be away from all that. So I think that's where we, after doing the SWOT analysis, we will identify all the things that are threatening Nigeria being a patriotic Nigeria, a patriotic country, and then develop solid, concrete next steps. And then after that, we'll share our vision with people who want to partner with us. Already, while we were here, I don't know if people noticed, there was one Indian that was sitting quietly over there. When he was leaving, he gave me his listing and said he was so excited with what is going on here today that he wants, yes, that's his flyer, that his organization is going to give free training to any of our volunteers, wherever they are. So it's already starting. Yes, you want to say something?
Oh, okay.
I saw you put on your thing.
No, we respect what you have also said. Some of the benefits of what we've achieved today of this summit and this conference, because we're looking at making this something that will last and not just making it a one-off project. It's not one of those youth projects. And we are grateful to God that the strategy we used in achieving this project has been met. A radio station spoke to me outside, and they asked that they want to give us 1 hour every week on their radio station. Yeah. So the name of the radio station is We FM. So if you know We FM in Abuja, you know it's not one of those quack station. It's a hybrid radio station. So they want us to design a program on volunteerism and patriotism, and that we are going to be on air. We should decide any day and any time. They're going to give us a peak time where this house will decide the program, and we're going to be discussing volunteerism and patriotism. It's going to be anchored and controlled by us. All they just want to do is to push that as part of their support to what we're doing. Thank you.
Now you can see, without even a document, people are buying into it. I can tell you, I've been in the international development community for 30 years. If you have a roadmap properly hashed out, you will see people jumping all over you to be part of it. I don't know if people understand what I'm saying. UNFP already, they are ready to train on demographic dividend-related issues. Even monitoring and evaluating what government is doing, this volunteer network can do that. They train the volunteers, they monitor in every community. Whatever project government is doing, they can come as volunteers. And then when they come as volunteers, they won't come manipulated by politicians. Because what will happen, any project any particular government is in, the opposition will be looking for the ones that are not so working and highlight it and make everybody uncomfortable, isn't it? But the volunteers will look at the positive ones and say, okay, government, this one is not working this way. Can we do it this way? So the opportunities are so big and diverse. Any other thing? Yes, go ahead.
Good evening. Please, you just permit my voice. I have a very bad voice, please, as a result of sore throat. Please. Okay. I'm still on the volunteerism. I'm just thinking of something while Ambassador Phil was saying something and Dr. Ejike. I remembered a day when a community chairman, he came out, that was in Lagos, Okokomaiko, if we all know Okokomaiko, in Lagos. There was a community chairman one day that came out. He willingly used his money to repair some bad roads at Okokomaiko in Lagos State. That day, I was not really living in Okokomaiko. I was passing by when I heard some set of people saying, who sent this man? Now, so they do. They won't come out for another level. And I was like, God, this thing these people are saying,